So Harrison, Ryan, congratulations on the film. All I will say is that your performances just left me breathless. It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, Ryan, because I just talked to Denny, and he basically intimated when you first sat down to talk about the script that you looked at each other, laughed, and were like, there's no way we're going to touch this masterpiece. So can you talk about that meeting and how it went?
Two Canadians, no less. We were both in a state of shock that we were even having the conversation. But, he is an incredible, what was amazing was that he was such a fan of the original, that it was one of the seminal films for him, made him want to become a filmmaker, and he had such a reverence for it, and at the same time he wasn't intimidated by this. He felt like it was clear that he had a clear vision for it, and it seemed like he felt he had an obligation to that.
Yeah,
and so he was an easy guy to follow.
I think you met it too. I was just going to say, I really feel like if you're trying to touch the stars, you guys definitely at least got to the moon. It's really great. So I loved it.
Cool. Thank
and then
you.
Harrison, for you, I feel like over the years, there had to have been tons of scripts that were sent to you where somebody thought that they could do this continuation or a reboot or whatever. How many times? Nothing?
No. I don't think anybody would have dared, really. I certainly, over the years, got scripts that took a lot from the world of Blade Runner, but it took. Ridley had been working on this idea, the potential ideas for another Blade Runner story for a long, long time, and. He called me about 4 years before we started shooting and said, theoretically, would you be interested in coming back to... And I just read an interview the other day in which he claims I said, but I said, well, do you have a story? What are we talking about? And he sent me a novella that he'd written as a kind of foundational exercise for the writing of the script. And it had the level of complication and reference to the original film and a path for my character that was very compelling, and I thought real worthy of a path worth following.
Excellent. Yeah,
And then he brought all these fantastic people together.
Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Not Brian.
Way.
And Denis, Roger Deakins, all the other actors. A wonderful, wonderful group of people to work with.
Thanks. Okay, real quick last question.
Sure.
I guess there was a film that you saw of Ryan's where you said that was the one where you felt he could be the guy to do this. What film was it? Which performance? I guess you saw him in something and you were early on thinking that he would be a good person to play the role.
Not any one role, just watching the progress of his career, the indelible characters that he created, the respect he had for the process, his investment, and then reading this role, I thought, and I'd wanted to work with him before. I thought, that's the guy. And when I told with great enthusiasm the producers, I had a really good idea, and wouldn't it be great if we could get Ryan, for the
Brian, it's fine.
Ryan or Brian? What a funny name, Ryan or Brian. They said, yeah, we know. We've been working on it.
Thank you. So, Denis, this film, I don't even know where to begin because I don't want to spoil anything, but congratulations, because it was beautiful. I know that you said that you wanted to do this film specifically because you loved the first one so much you felt you had to. Can you talk about how you kind of compartmentalized the fandom, or did you lean into it in making the film? Like, how did you keep your fan in check?
The fan, when he read the screenplay, said to himself, all right, there's a strong screenplay there, so they will make the movie, and I don't want somebody else to fuck it up. So, and then I left the fan at home. I didn't want to do this movie with nostalgia. I didn't want to make the movie like someone who was in. I loved the first movie so much, but I didn't want it to blinded me. I needed to find my own freedom, to find my own voice in that universe, and for that, for the better or the worst. I mean, it's like I didn't know my chances of success were super small. I mean, it's like I needed that freedom, yeah, to make it be able to evolve in that way.
I love that you say that, because I feel like a director of your caliber, to say that your chances of success are small, I'm just like, if I was even at the 10th of your game, I'd feel like my chances were huge. But
No. Ryan Gosling and I, we one of our very first meeting, we looked at each other in the eyes and we start to laugh and we say, okay, we're doomed. It's impossible. It's like we know that we both. I'm talking for Ryan, but I feel okay about that, because it's something we shared we made peace with the idea that we were going with a very strong car, full speed toward the wall, and we had the chances to go to the little tiny hole in the wall and to survive was very very small chances. It's like. Because no matter how good our movie will be, it will be compared to a masterpiece. So okay, yeah, and I knew that everybody were rightfully very nervous about this idea of making a sequel. Some people were excited, other people thought it was a bad idea, and I was among both gangs, and both groups. I mean,
that's that compartmentalizing part, right?
Yeah, and I was having both feet, and I was like. So it took. So once you accept that you cannot expect anything from the result. You have to just enjoy the process. Do this as a pure artistic gesture, just for the pure joy of making cinema and being inspired by one of the best movies of all time. Then you find your freedom and you are able to work.
The other thing I was just going to ask you too is, you talk about Harrison and Ryan and them doing this together. Obviously, you had to have that moment though too, where you're like, I'm directing Rick Deckard. Like, so was there that moment where you kind of let it come out a little bit when him and Ryan were going at it?
But the thing is that it was for me frightening. That was one of the biggest challenges doing this movie, was to bring back that character, that very iconic director that everybody remembers. And it's like I really needed Harrison. I would have never been able to do it alone. But yes, the truth is that the first day as a director, you direct Harrison Ford, which was like one of my childhood heroes. It's like I was like pinching myself. I had to breathe a little and say, okay, let's be professional here. I'm supposed to direct him, But it's like I'm not intimidated very often by actors, but for Harrison, I'm grateful because he really broke the ice, and we met before, and he's a very warm, thoughtful, generous, humble man. And at the same time, he's Harrison Ford. Well, no, it was like impressive for me to work with Harrison. I'm still waking up something I can't believe it happened.